Tribe, I become invincible with my 10,000 times bonus from the start. Chapter 281, I advise you to be kind. Li Cheng raised his head and narrowed his eyes, looking at Angel Lai who was hovering in the air. Li Cheng put on an innocent expression and said, Miss Angel, I saved you from the hands of the evil spirit sovereign. How dare you talk to me like that? I heard the angel race is kind-hearted, so I didn't expect that they'd want to snatch the spoils of war from a mere human. Hearing this, Angel Lai's face instantly froze. She was naturally angered by Li Cheng's words. The boss only had a trace of health left. One more casual slash would send him to hell. Did she need this human to save her? Were you trying to save me? King stole my loot, okay. Angel Lai was instantly infuriated. As an angel whose soul had long fallen, she did not have a kind-hearted heart. If it was not for the fact that the time was not ripe yet, she would have long chopped up this shameless human in front of her. The angel took a deep breath and said, Human, this evil spirit sovereign was the prey of our angel race. Li Cheng shrugged indifferently. Really? I'm sorry, it's also the target of our church. Y'all. Angel Lai was so angry that she could not say a word. Li Cheng laughed. Under her murderous gaze, he picked up all the spoils of war. Ding, dong. You've triggered a 10,000 times increase. You've obtained the spoils of war, the immortal grade bloody armor. Ding, dong. You've triggered a 10,000 times increase. You've obtained the spoils of war, the immortal grade evil origin. Ding, dong. You've triggered a 10,000 times increase. You've obtained the spoils of war, the immortal grade demon lord's double-edged blade. An immortal grade unit would naturally drop a lot of good items. Moreover, it was a boss that he had to snatch from another immortal existence. It was simply too satisfying. Li Cheng's gaze landed on the last item, the immortal evil origin. Upon seeing this, Li Cheng took it out from his backpack. A pitch-black energy ball emitting a strong evil aura suddenly appeared in his hand. It was like extremely dark mud. Evil origin, immortal. Description: a mud ball from the deepest part of the evil river. Only an immortal grade evil spirit can dig it out. Legend has it that one's soul will be polluted just by touching it. Grade: immortal. Level: 1. Effect: special material. Looking at the attributes of this item, Li Cheng was a little shocked. No wonder Angel Lai went through all that trouble to attack an immortal grade evil spirit sovereign. It was probably for this item. Li Cheng could roughly guess the use of it. It was probably used to convert Angel Lai into a fallen angel. After all, angels could not fall just because they wanted to. Degenerating required a large amount of energy. After dispelling one's own holy energy, one must have the corresponding evil energy as a supplement. As for the immortal grade evil origin, it could completely transform an immortal blazing angel into a fallen one. When he thought of this, Li Cheng's gaze toward Angel Lai instantly changed, making Angel Lai feel uncomfortable. It was as if her secret had been discovered by this human before her. She frowned and said, Human, you can keep the other equipment, but the evil origin's too dangerous. Let me handle it. That's right, the evil origin's too dangerous. Li Cheng's words made Angel Lai's eyes light up, but what he said next left her dumbfounded. So, I plan to hand it over to the great god of light. What do you think? Angel Lai was so angry that her entire body was trembling. This human was really too detestable. No matter how much she tried to persuade him, he just would not listen. Thus, her eyes were fixed on Li Cheng as a cold killing intent was quietly released. She was about to make a move at the next moment. However, Li Cheng seemed as though he could not feel Angel Lai's aura. He smiled gently and said, I advise you to be kind, Miss Beautiful Angel. Angel Lai's breathing suddenly became chaotic. Under the armor, cold sweat instantly soaked her entire body. She could feel that when Li Cheng spoke, the aura of 4 gods appeared on his body at the same time. Even she could feel the vast and terrifying aura from just the 2 of them. Damn it! Angel Lai gritted her teeth in anger and clenched her fists. She had naturally heard of Li Cheng's name. It was rumored that he had countless goddesses protecting him. Even the goddess of space was willing to give everything up for him. Not to mention, she only had half of her health now. Even if she was at her peak, she still would not be a match for the goddess of space. Her current condition was extremely terrible. Just the dragon army that was hovering in the air gave her a strong sense of pressure. Then, Angel Lai said hatefully, "I'll remember you, human." After saying that, she was about to leave before Li Cheng stopped her again. "Wait. Miss Beautiful Angel, I think we have something to talk about." Angel Lai steadied herself and asked, "What?" "It's not that I can't give you this evil origin," Li Cheng said as he smiled. "What do you want?" Angel Lai narrowed her eyes, full of vigilance. Li Cheng casually said, "After you fall, you must serve under my command for 100 years. Hearing this, Angel Lai's body suddenly trembled, and her eyes that were hidden beneath her helmet instantly widened. Li Cheng's casual words made her break out in cold sweat again, and her heart was beating fast. After a few seconds, she took a deep breath and said calmly, "Human, I don't understand what you're saying." Li Cheng sneered. "You're still pretending. If the others don't know, how could I know this? T've already laid my cards on the table, and you're still hiding? You don't have any sincerity at all." Li Cheng said coldly, "Angel Lai, you only have one chance. If you don't grasp it, you'll have to wait thousands of years, tens of thousands of years even. You've waited for this for so long. Do you want to wait for another 1,000 years? Think about it carefully. I'll give you 5 minutes." After saying that, Li Cheng stopped talking, leaving Angel Lai to fight with herself in her heart. Her beautiful hidden face was full of conflict. She was a blazing angel, respected by everyone in every plane. Now, she was actually being threatened by a level 80 human? However, cold sweat slowly dripped down her forehead. How did this human know that she wanted to fall into evil? She had never told anyone about this, not even her most trusted confidants. Angel Lai had the strongest desire to kill Li Cheng at that moment. Chapter 282, the 8th level of the evil domain. What troubled Angel Lai the most was that as a player from another world, Li Cheng could not be killed as he had a few goddesses protecting him. Even if she risked her life, she still might not be able to kill him. In other words, this human could spread this news to the other angels at any time. If that happened, the consequences would be unimaginable. Angel King Kyle could easily tear her apart. Thinking of this, Angel Lai spat out a few words with difficulty, "You have my word." As soon as she finished speaking, the system's voice suddenly rang in Li Cheng's ears. "Ding, dong. Blazing Angel Lai has initiated a soul contract with you. The contract stipulates that after she falls, she will serve you for 100 years without compensation. Do you agree?" As the system's voice fell, Li Cheng could not help but grin. The angel before him had finally settled the matter. Next was the transaction. This transaction could be said to have been extremely successful. The evil origin had almost no value to him, but to the evil forces, this thing was a supreme artifact. However, to the good and the neutral camps, it had no value at all. To be able to obtain the loyalty of an immortal grade unit for 100 years was a bloody profit. He basically got something out of nothing. In fact, the immortal boss was taken down by Miss Angel herself. At this time, Li Cheng and Angel Lai had already signed an agreement, using a part of her soul as the price. If she were to break the agreement, her soul would be severely injured, and the loss would not be worth it. Angel Lai's face was filled with unwillingness. 100 years was not a long time for her, but it was stifling. A blazing angel, even if she had fallen, she would still be the strongest fallen angel. Now, she had to work for a human for 100 years for free. If others were to hear about it, they would laugh at her. Li Cheng took out 1,000 evil origins from his backpack. Angel La's eyes widened instantly. The evil origin was an immortal grade material. She had been searching for it for thousands of years and only now did she have the chance to obtain it. She even had to fight an immortal grade demon vampire for it. And now, this human was tossing 1,000 of it to her? What did this mean? Li Cheng was stunned when he saw Angel La's face. He thought it was not enough, so he took out another 3,000 evil origin from his backpack. Is this enough? The corner of Angel La's mouth twitched under her helmet. She quickly reached out and took it. Just one piece was enough for her to complete the fallen ritual, let alone 4,000 pieces. If there were so many pieces. Thinking of this, Angel La's eyes shone with inexplicable light. Her strength could be increased by more than several times. This way, it would not be so difficult to work for a human for 100 years. Soon, Angel La waved her snow-white wings in satisfaction and left. Li Cheng checked the spoils of war in his backpack. This Luxi was poor and did not drop any immortal-grade equipment at all. However, after the system's 10,000 times amplification, 2 immortal-grade equipment had appeared. Bloody Armor, Immortal. Description: the armor from the evil ghost sovereign. Contains the evil river's malice. As long as you wear it, you'll slowly fall. Grade: Immortal. Level: 1. Type: Special Equipment. Effect: Darkening of the soldier type. Time and effect depend on the specific situation of the soldier type. Looking at the attributes of the equipment, Li Cheng's pupils constricted. Darkening one's soldier type was something that even he had never heard of before. Some soldiers also had their own camps at the beginning of the game, just like the angel race. They were always in the good camp. Even if they were recruited, if the Lord did something against justice, their loyalty points would drop. However, once they fell, they would become the corresponding evil army. Thinking of this, Li Cheng took a deep breath and temporarily threw the equipment into his bag. He was going to throw this equipment to Tyavanas. This way, Tyavanas' range of movement would not be limited to the underground. She could go to the surface to plunder the enemies. Demon Lord's Double-Edged Sword, Immortal. Description: a terrifying sword from an evil spirit sovereign. With just a glance, the enemy would be viciously injured. Grade: Immortal. Level: Type: Soldier Equipment. Attribute 1, Soldier's attack plus 1000%, damage received when defense value reaches 0 plus 1000%. Attribute 2, Malicious Double-Edged Sword, Divine Power Skill, unable to access. Attribute 3, Bloodlust, Divine Power Skill, unable to access. The sword was an immortal grade equipment that required divine power. Li Cheng's mouth twitched. His current attack value was definitely enough. He did not need to sacrifice his defense in exchange for more damage. If he brought his own soldier, it would be no different from running around naked. He casually put the equipment into his backpack. After closing the interface, Li Cheng continued to lead his troops toward the marked point on the map. After another 2 hours of traveling, Li Cheng finally cleared the max-level legendary troops of countless evil spirits and entered the 8th level of the evil domain. The radiance of the teleportation light instantly descended. At the same time, the system's voice rang. Ding, dong. The current temperature is too high. Your troops cannot survive for long. On the 8th level of the evil domain, the surroundings were still blood red, but the temperature had become extremely high. Ordinary humans would probably be dehydrated. Li Cheng's army was considered very elite, but the elven and human troops could only survive for 8 hours max. In front of him, there was a never-ending stream of tall, densely packed terrifying evil spirits. Seeing this, Li Cheng cast a scouting spell. Evil Ghost, Crown. Just as he had guessed, the 8th floor was indeed filled with crowned soldiers. Moreover, they were the kind that had their equipment columns filled with mythical-grade equipment, and their levels were also fully maxed out. Li Cheng took a deep breath. Fortunately, Ella's divine power could reach the 8th level. Otherwise, if he were visible, even he would feel very troubled. Moreover, he could faintly hear the sound of water flowing. It should be coming from the evil river. The evil domain had a total of 9 levels. The 8th level could be said to be infinitely close to the source of evil. Li Cheng did not think too much and led his troops to the place marked on the map. Crushing an immortal-grade speed scroll, Li Cheng hurried at full speed. After about an hour, Li Cheng was already close to the location marked on the map. Suddenly, there was a loud, deafening sound coming from not far away, followed by a violent fluctuation from far to near, sending clouds of dust into the air. Chapter 283, Just sit back and reap the benefits. Li Cheng looked over and saw 4 huge, ugly bodies dancing in the air. At the same time, there were 2 holy and beautiful angels that seemed rather small. Li Cheng took a deep breath. 4 immortal evil ghost sovereign lords and 2 immortal blazing angels. Both sides were engaged in a lively fight, and the battle seemed to have reached a white-hot stage. Both sides had used their ultimate moves. Suddenly, the sky was shining with an incomparably bright golden light, which made Li Cheng unable to open his eyes. Li Cheng slightly covered his eyes, and his heart was somewhat shocked. This energy, it seemed to be self-destructing. At the next moment, boom, boom, boom. The terrifying energy explosion illuminated the entire evil domain, making it look as if it was daytime. For a moment, countless peak-level crowned soldiers were instantly killed even though they were thousands of meters away from the fight. Li Cheng also hurriedly used the barrier of the dragon soul. He also did not expect that the battle would be so intense that it actually forced a blazing angel to self-detonate. A few minutes later, the light of self-destruction dissipated. Li Cheng and his team approached them a little, and they saw a bottomless pit in the center of the explosion. The pitch-black water of the evil river poured into the deep pit. As a result of the blazing angel's self-destruction, 2 of the evil ghost lords died. Their corpses were floating in the evil river, but it would not be long before they would resurrect. Of course, their strength would suffer a significant decrease. As for the remaining blazing angel, he quickly killed the other 2 evil ghost lords under the cover of the other angel's self-destruction. At this moment, the remaining blazing angel only had a sliver of HP left. Li Cheng's gaze fell on a small square box nearby. This small box was emitting a faint light and looked plain and unadorned. When he saw this, Li Cheng hurriedly cast a scouting spell. The triple gate of the god of creation. Description: Li Cheng did not plan to continue hiding, so he walked out. He picked up the small box and threw it into his backpack. Seeing this scene, the blazing angel frowned slightly, but very quickly, Li Cheng flashed his Duke's Medal of the Church of Light and said, "Don't worry, I'm the Duke of the Church of Light. When I go back, I'll hand it over to the church." After seeing the Duke's medal, the blazing angel heaved a sigh of relief. As long as this thing did not fall into the hands of the evil faction, it would be fine. Li Cheng gave the blazing angel a bottle of potion and said, "This is a recovery potion. It'll heal your injuries." The blazing angel was not in good condition right now, so he did not suspect anything. After Li Cheng handed over the potion, he drank it immediately. Then, the system's voice rang in Li Cheng's ears. "Ding, dong! You've used the legendary water of the evil river on Blazing Angel 7, triggering a 10,000 times increase, causing 678 billion damage. Ding, dong! You've successfully killed Blazing Angel 7. A huge number appeared above the Blazing Angel's head. He could not even resist and died immediately. Li Cheng was somewhat stunned. He was only trying to see if he could kill the angel this way. After all, the fact that he had obtained the triple gate of the god of creation had to be hidden. Hence, the blazing angel had to die. However, Li Cheng did not want to kill him directly. If he did, there would definitely be traces of his actions left behind. If the gods investigated this matter, it would be difficult for him to explain himself. Still, Li Cheng did not expect the effect of the evil river's water to be so good. The blazing angel also gulped the water of the evil river foolishly. Before this, Li Cheng had asked Ella to conceal the information of the evil river's water before it entered the blazing angel's stomach. Hence, its true nature could not be identified. In addition to the fact that he was the God-bestowed Duke of the Church of Light, the blazing angel did not have the slightest suspicion toward him. Thinking of this, Li Cheng asked in his heart, "Ella, you won't leave your mark here, right?" Very soon, Ella's reply was heard in his mind, "No, my energy has been completely devoured by the energy of the evil river." Hearing this, Li Cheng was relieved. He scooped up the corpse of this blazing angel, and the equipment he picked up was almost the same as the equipment of the other blazing angel he had killed. What Li Cheng cared about was that he now had another chronicle of justice in his hand. At this moment, Li Cheng touched his chin and thought for a moment. If he gathered 5 chronicles, would he be able to determine the nature of a race himself? At this moment, Ella's voice sounded again, "Li Cheng, leave now. I can feel many powerful auras rushing over. You have to leave immediately." Li Cheng nodded with a solemn expression. Without saying anything else, he immediately led his troops back to the space temple in the main plane. However, since they were already here, it was not Li Cheng's style to run away in silence. 5 minutes later, a few figures emitting powerful auras slowly appeared in the 8th layer of the evil domain. They were all paladins from the various churches. At this time, they were all in the state of God's descent. It could be said that the big shots of the good camp had all arrived. The God of Light, the God of Justice, the Goddess of the Moon. Usually, the good and the righteous gods were more active, hence, they had all come to the evil domain through God's descent. The battle plan of the gods and the angels was very simple. They would draw the attention of a few evil ghost lords. Then, the angels would go and get the divine weapons. The angel race had sent 5 blazing angels over. It could be said that they had sent a heavy force, but no one had expected that Li Cheng would take advantage of the loophole. The God of Light looked at the blazing angel's corpse and sighed deeply. The previous explosion had completely shocked them, as well as the evil ghost lords in the evil domain. All of them stopped fighting in an instant and immediately ran away. The God of Justice's resolute face was frowning. He looked at the body of the blazing angel and his eyes were full of doubt. How could a blazing angel drink the water from the evil river? The cause of his death is too strange. Chapter 284, Has Netherworld Compromised? Upon hearing this, all the gods widened their eyes in disbelief. The blazing angel had drunk the water of the evil river. Was that not too fake? The God of Light frowned. There seemed to be a dark cloud on his old face that could not be dispelled. The blazing angel was the purest, kindest, and most powerful angel in the entire world. Each of them had been through hundreds of battles and had been tested for a long time. They had fought against evil for thousands of years. If one of them died, it would be a great loss. As for the goddess of moonlight, she looked at the blazing angel's corpse and was deep in thought. She looked in a certain direction and said, "No matter what, the god of creation's divine artifact has disappeared. It's time for us to leave." The God of Justice let out a long sigh. "Let's go. Bring the believers back to the main plane." After that, the gods of the good camp left with their believers. After all, this was the territory of the evil ghosts. Countless powerful evil ghost lords were immortal great existences. They were scheming against each other and waiting for the other to make a move to weaken the other. That was why they did not choose to fight with the gods. If they really fought, the gods who had descended into the evil domain would definitely not be their match. Less than a minute after the gods left, a wave of spatial fluctuations spread out. A few evil ghost lords who were emitting destructive and evil auras suddenly appeared. They looked at each other and saw the cold light in them. One of them said, according to Pharisees' information, the divine artifact was taken away by a human. Hearing this, the other evil ghost lords were shocked. A human had such courage to enter the 8th level of the evil domain? They looked at each other and immediately said, no matter what, we can't let him walk out of the evil domain alive. As for Li Cheng, he was walking toward the exit at a leisurely pace. He knew very well that those evil ghosts were immortal grade existences. Li Cheng knew that they would soon discover that he had obtained the triple gate of the god of creation. He also knew they would soon launch an attack on him. At this moment, Li Cheng had arrived at an angel's stronghold in the 7th level of the evil domain. The angels in front of him had temporarily built a small stronghold. There were not many angels there, but there were at least a few million of them. Around the stronghold, there were many angel defense towers, sacred and solemn. Li Cheng found the commander of the stronghold and said, Sir Angel, a group of evil ghosts are chasing us. This commander was a male angel. He asked in a deep voice, why are they chasing you? Li Cheng pointed at the shining badge on his chest and said, I'm the Duke of the Church of Light. See. The commander nodded. Then, he patted his chest and promised, don't worry. With us here, the evil ghosts will never pass through this place. Thank you. Li Cheng thanked him and proceeded to enter the entire stronghold. He laughed in his heart. These angels were really straightforward. Not long after Li Cheng left, countless terrifying evil ghosts appeared in the passage of the 8th level of the evil domain. Seeing this scene, the angel commander's pupils constricted. He could sense several extremely powerful auras, more powerful than the blazing angels. The angel commander thought to himself, have these evil ghosts gone crazy? They actually sent out such a large force. At this moment, it was too late to say anything. He could only brace himself and choose to accept the battle. A few immortal-grade evil ghosts glared angrily at the angel stronghold. Did they think that the evil domain was their own plane? They immediately gave the order. Flatten them, leave no one alive. Li Cheng could already imagine what would happen to the angels. No matter how elite they were, they would all be instantly killed when facing a few immortal-grade evil ghost lords. At this moment, Purple Rose had sent him a message. Netherworld, this is a major event. More than 20 alliances are about to attack us. The Brown Bear Alliance, 100 Flowers Alliance, White Tiger Alliance, Black Tortoise Alliance, almost all the online gaming alliances are participating. Originally, some of the alliances had maintained a good relationship with the Divine Dragon Alliance. For example, the Brown Bear Alliance, White Tiger Alliance, and Black Tortoise Alliance had fought against the Eagle Alliance with the Divine Dragon Alliance in the past. However, after these people witnessed Li Cheng's strength, they chose to oppose Netherworld. These alliances had joined forces to attack the Divine Dragon Alliance, but it would be better to say that they were attacking the Netherworld Alliance. After hearing these words, Li Cheng sneered. Where did these people get their confidence from? Did they think that they could defeat him just by relying on numbers? Originally, Li Cheng's plan was to get rid of a small thorn like the Universe Alliance. He did not care much about the development of the other alliances as he was already targeting the gods. However, since these alliances wanted to deal with him, he could only apologize to them. You've provoked the wrong person. A dangerous glint flashed in Li Cheng's eyes. He turned his head and looked back. Energy fluctuations were nearing him. It seemed that they had already engaged in battle. Other than the angels, some gods who had descended also rushed over. However, this time, the evil ghosts did not give in. It was as if their mothers had been killed. Each and every one of them was determined to fight with their lives on the line. Li Cheng thought to himself for a moment. It did not seem like he needed to do it himself. He replied, Purple Rose, tell all the players to withdraw. Hearing Li Cheng's words, Purple Rose was stunned. Really? She thought it was a little unbelievable. She did not know what Li Cheng was up to. This did not seem like him at all. Was he frightened by these 20 or so leagues? Was he starting to compromise? Li Cheng did not say much to her except, "Just listen to me." "All right." Purple Rose snorted and stomped her feet in anger. She felt that Li Cheng was getting more and more overboard, ordering her around like a robot. However, even Purple Rose herself was shocked. She herself did not have the slightest bit of resistance. The reason was very simple. Every time Li Cheng made a decision, he was always right. Subconsciously, Purple Rose had already equated Li Cheng with the right path. Hence, Purple Rose shook her head and did not think too much about it. She began to contact the various guild leaders of the Divine Dragon Alliance. The Divine Dragon Alliance's guilds were very fast. Although most of the players did not understand, they swiftly completed their withdrawal nevertheless. Other than a few guilds and unspecialized players who did not listen, everyone else had left the evil domain and returned to the main plane. Seeing the Divine Dragon Alliance's reaction, the other guilds began to mock them. Chapter 285, The Duke of the Church of Light Won't Lie. Ha ha ha, look, everyone. The people of the Divine Dragon Alliance are scared. They're retreating. We just started putting on a show, and they're already scared to this extent? Their soft spines are exactly the same as they were back then. This is what the Divine Dragon Alliance should be like. Other than having a lot of players, they're nothing but trash. Everyone, come and block the teleportation gates of the Divine Dragon Alliance. They can forget about participating in this large-scale event this time. Right, let's block the teleportation gates so they can't participate. Don't they like to cheat? Let's see how they can get in. Bring me along. Bring me along. I'll block the gate, too. TL come, too. The players from the various alliances headed toward the teleportation portals of the Divine Dragon Alliance. If they blocked the teleportation portals, they thought it would block the players from the Divine Dragon Alliance from participating in this event. If they lagged behind a large-scale event, the overall progress of the Alliance players would be significantly different. As time passed, the gap would become greater and greater. Previously, the Divine Dragon Alliance had also blocked the teleportation portals of the other alliances, but now, the tables had turned. Looking at the news from the front lines, Li Cheng smiled coldly. He led his troops toward the teleportation portal of the Divine Dragon Alliance. He could feel the countless terrifying auras chasing after him. Suddenly, the system's rumbling sound rang in the ears of the players. Ding, dong. Activity announcement. The God of Justice God's Descent has been killed. All player troops morale reduced by 50. Ding, dong. Activity announcement. The God of Suffering God's Descent has been killed. All player troops morale reduced by 50. Ding, dong. Hearing the system notification, Li Cheng's eyelids twitched. It seemed that these evil ghost lords were really anxious. Those gods were merely using God's descent and they could not defeat these evil ghost lords who were already crazy. Li Cheng took a deep breath. The situation was even more critical than he thought. It seemed that he could not stay in the evil domain any longer. One had to know that there were no more than a few hundred immortal grade existences in the evil domain. There were still more than 10 or 20 of them chasing after him. Among them, the strongest one had fought passionately with Angel King Kyle for tens of thousands of years. Now that the hourglass of time was in a CD state, Li Cheng naturally did not want to fight them. However, it was not a problem to pit them against the honest angel race. Thinking of this, Li Cheng ran among the angel strongholds. The great God of justice is in trouble. Quick, go and save him. The God of justice has fallen. His believers are being slaughtered by those evil ghosts. They need your help. The God of light is also surrounded. Quick. Ah! I'm the Duke of the Church of Light. Of course, I know. TL, go get help. I don't believe that these evil ghosts can fight us. Li Cheng merely said a few simple words, but those angels were filled with righteous indignation. Then, they flapped their wings and rushed over to help. A few hours later, Li Cheng let out a long sigh. He did not stop running at all along the way. On top of that, he was constantly crushing immortal grade speed scrolls. Behind him, countless angels were holding the enemies back, but the evil ghosts were still chasing after him. Li Cheng soon saw a dark mass of players. They were the other alliance players who were coming to block the portal. Seeing this, Li Cheng chose not to make a move. Instead, he used Ella's dark mist to pass through them unnoticed. As the teleportation light descended, Li Cheng instantly returned to the main plane. Angel Snow was still standing outside the portal, looking at the Divine Dragon Alliance players with an indifferent expression. At this moment, Li Cheng took a deep breath and said to Angel Snow, "Close the teleportation gate." Angel Snow shook her head decisively and said, "I don't have the authority to do that without a direct order." Seeing her like this, Li Cheng said coldly, "There are more than 10 immortal-grade evil ghost lords coming. If you want them to come into the main plane, then you can pretend that I didn't say anything." Hearing this, the little mouth beneath Angel Snow's helmet opened wide and her eyes were full of shock. Evil ghost lords in the main plane? More than 10 of them? Were they not afraid of the good camp's strangulation? If the immortal-grade evil ghost lords had entered the main plane, the gods of the good camp naturally would not sit idly by. She suspected that Li Cheng was lying, but she did not dare to take such a big risk. She thought that a god-conferred Duke of the Church of Light would not joke about a matter like this. Thinking of this, Angel Snow raised the holy sword in her hand up high. A dazzling light flashed, and at the same time, the teleportation portal that was rotating in front of her slowly closed. At the same time, the system notification rang in Li Cheng's ear. Ding, dong. World announcement. All teleportation portals of the Divine Dragon Alliance have been closed. Players cannot enter the active map for the time being. Please, wait patiently. Ding, dong. World announcement. After doing all this, Angel Snow ignored Li Cheng and flew into the sky. She needed to report this to her superiors. If the evil ghost lords really came to the main plane, it would be a huge disaster. Especially since these evil ghost lords were using the teleportation portals of the angel race. They would never allow such a thing to happen. The communication efficiency of the angel race was very high. Less than a minute had passed, and before the players could react, the system's voice rang again. Ding, dong. World announcement. All teleportation portals leading to the activity map have been closed. Please, wait patiently. The teleportation portals will open again. Ding, dong. World announcement. As the rumbling world announcement kept ringing, Li Cheng secretly praised the efficiency of the angel race. Then, he thought about it. In any case, all the angels and believers in the evil domain had been killed by the evil ghosts long ago. As for the players, one had to know that kindness was not a holy mother. Once the angels weighed the pros and cons, they decisively sold the players out. If it meant stopping the evil ghosts from entering the main plane, those players were no longer important. Li Cheng sneered. This was the hypocrisy of the gods and angels. In his previous life, he had also trusted the gods of the kind camp and the angel race. But in the end, no one knew better than Li Cheng what the gods and angels of the so-called kind camp had done. As for the players who had returned to safety after listening to Li Cheng's words, they were all stunned when they heard the system notifications. Chapter 286, Curse of Evil. The players who heard the system notification were all dumbfounded. Then, they began to cheer. Ha ha ha, where are the people who mocked us before? I want to ask if their faces hurt. Ha ha, they won't be able to come out now, right? Well done. Netherworld is awesome. He can actually predict the actions of the NPCs. Do you guys think Netherworld has some shady relationship going on with Miss Angel? I had some doubts about Netherworld before. I'm sorry, I was wrong. Last time, a few Alliance players were stuck in the Shadow World and couldn't get out. In the end, all the troops starved to death. Netherworld did a good job. We should do everything to defeat them. Otherwise, they would think that the Divine Dragon Alliance is easy to bully. That's right, let's show them how powerful we are. The players of the Divine Dragon Alliance naturally looked like they were enjoying the show while the rest could not accept it. Among them, there were a few players who were unable to return to their territory after Li Chang closed the passage. They were so scared that their faces turned pale. It would be too sad if all their troops starved to death. Of course, they would not have such concerns this time. Before they could protest against the actions of the angels, countless terrifying figures appeared from the second floor's teleportation portal. They were pure black, like the thickest ink. These monsters did not hesitate at all and instantly launched an attack on the players' troops. At the same time, a terrifying evil aura suddenly descended, and countless players instantly gained another debuff, fear. Their movement and attack speed had been reduced by 100%. The players of the various alliances were completely dumbfounded. Oh my god! What is this thing? A crown soldier! Oh my god, this is a mythical boss? A big one! F***ck, what kind of debuff is this, fear? No way, could there really be an immortal grade existence? The players from the various alliances were all in a mess, and on top of that, their movement and attack speed were all reduced to 0. In other words, they could only watch helplessly as their troops were slaughtered. Watching their units being slaughtered by the monsters felt like blades scraping their flesh. They were in extreme pain. Meanwhile, a few evil ghost lords were emitting cold killing intent. This was because the teleportation door had already been closed, so the aura of the divine artifact they were searching for had disappeared from the evil domain. Damned humans, you dare to play with the great evil ghost lords? Prepare to suffer our wrath. As soon as he finished speaking, the system notification rang. Ding, dong. Region notification. Evil Ghost Lord Macy has activated the skill Curse of Evil. All players who are killed by the evil ghost units will be affected by this skill. Ding, dong. In an instant, all the evil ghosts were covered by a thick black fog, only revealing 2 scarlet eyes. Everyone from the various alliances was stunned, and they quickly checked the skill that the evil ghost lord had activated. Curse of Evil. Description: a powerful curse from the evil ghost lord, containing the deepest malice in the entire world. All contaminated units will be cursed by the evil river. Level 1. Effect: all players killed by the evil ghosts will have their daily experience points reduced by 50% for 7 days. Looking at the description of the skill, the players from the various alliances were stunned. This skill was a little too powerful, right? For a whole week, half the experience points of the player affected would be lost. It would be very difficult for players to increase their levels. If they continued to farm monsters for a day, their experience points would increase very slowly. In other words, under the influence of this skill, their levels would continuously drop. What was even more frustrating was that their levels would not drop in one go. They would lose their levels every day. It was a long and torturous process. Still, this was much better than losing all their levels, but this also meant that all their experience points would be wasted during this period. The best thing to do now was to lie down and do nothing. They would just have to wait for the debuff to disappear before they start leveling up again. When they thought of this, the players felt their scalps go numb. This was worse than killing them. Everyone cried out in pain. Oh my god, help me! I don't want to do this. If I get hit by this skill, I'll be done for. Who can save me? F***ck, I'm really done for this time. This game is so protective of the people from the Divine Dragon Alliance. They don't seem to have such an experience. Rather than protecting the players from the Divine Dragon Alliance, it's better to say that it's protecting this F***king Netherworld. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here. I can't live under the same sky as Netherworld. Sob, 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 sob. Big brother Netherworld, I was wrong. Let me out. You have no moral integrity. Their wails were all in vain. The evil ghost lords had sent out their most elite troops. Tens of billions of soldiers from the top ranks had come to kill them. Their goal was to obtain the divine weapon of the god of creation. The players' troops were all intimidated by the army of the evil ghosts. Each and every one of them were trying to flee, let alone resist the oncoming troops. However, in the end, they were all massacred. Looking at the miserable state of the players of the various alliances, the players of the Divine Dragon Alliance felt a wave of relief. Fortunately, they had listened to Li Cheng's words. Otherwise, they would have been cursed by the curse of evil, too. If that was the case, they might as well have died. 1. Hiss, isn't this too terrifying? Why do I feel that this large-scale secret realm is used to scam people? I can only say here that it's never wrong to follow Netherworld. Without Netherworld's help, we would have also been finished off by the evil ghost lords. Ha ha ha, those people even wanted to block our teleportation gate, but in the end? Were they trying to make us laugh to death? Their combat strength has been drastically reduced. Can we make a big move? That's right, the Alliance War's cooldown is almost over. Charge. Right, F*CK them all. Charge. Li Cheng was slightly surprised. The curse of evil seemed to consume one's origins. It seemed like these evil ghost lords were really angry. However, this had nothing to do with him. Li Cheng merely shrugged as he led his troops to the City of Light. After half an hour, Li Cheng returned to his territory through the portal. He was finally relieved. As long as he returned to his territory, everything would be normal. With the current defensive power of his territory, wine and women would not panic even in the face of an immortal-grade existence. Even if those evil ghost lords came, he only needed to deal with them for a short time as he knew the gods would not tolerate them messing around in the main plane. Chapter 287, The Terrifying Triple Gate of the God of Creation. After returning to his territory, Li Cheng did not immediately check the attributes of the triple gate of the God of Creation because divine weapons of the God of Creation carried a strong aura. As long as he took it out from his backpack, it would be sensed by the gods in the main plane. It would be troublesome if they sensed it now. If it was an ordinary immortal weapon, it would not matter even if it was an evil god's item. However, if it was linked to the God of Creation, the gods would immediately turn hostile. What's more, the matter of the dead blazing angels would also be exposed. This way, Li Cheng would have to lay low. This was not what he wanted. However, this would not be a problem in the shadow world. Thinking of this, Li Cheng went to look for Lillian. In her palace, Lillian was in a daze as she looked out the window. Her perfect side profile was quiet and beautiful. However, Lillian quickly noticed Li Cheng. Lord! Let's go back to the glittering castle, Li Cheng said immediately. Lillian nodded her little head. It just so happens there are a few guests there. Guests? Li Cheng was stunned and he did not understand. However, he did not ask much. It was better to go back to the shadow world to see it himself. The glittering castle. Seeing this magnificent and huge building again, Li Cheng sighed. He did not know who could build such a huge building. Moreover, it was rumored that the initial appearance of the shadow world started from a small fog that spread out from here. Li Cheng shook his head and followed Lillian in. Just as Li Cheng entered, a petite figure suddenly crashed into his arms. Eve! Li Cheng suddenly felt like he got punched in his stomach. The corner of his mouth twitched. Seeing this character, Li Cheng did not need to think to know who it was. It was none other than the goddess of death. Li Cheng subconsciously hugged the goddess of death's petite body and looked up. Then, his pupils immediately shrank. In the magnificent palace stood a few slim and graceful beauties, standing tall. Ella, the goddess of space, and Trelafani were looking at him with burning eyes. Li Cheng could feel that these three goddesses were really there. Li Cheng was confused. What's going on? Did something big happen that he was not aware of? The goddess of space looked at Li Cheng and asked, "This place is too big for me." The corner of Li Cheng's mouth twitched. Why did she look resentful? He did not chase her away, but fortunately, nothing had happened. Ella, on the other hand, puffed up her cheeks and snorted. She seemed to be a little angry. Although Li Cheng had many goddesses and beauties, was this lineup not a little too much? It was Trelafani who spoke the truth. Lillian invited us over. Lillian said, "Lord, I thought it'd be good for everyone to get together." The comer of Li Cheng's mouth twitched again. Good. Why do I feel like Mars is colliding with Earth? At this moment, Ella's expression was no longer tense. After living for thousands of years, she still knew the principle of moderation. She stretched out her hand to Li Cheng. "I heard you obtained the divine artifact of the god of creation." And Li Cheng rolled his eyes. "Hand it over," Ella said matter-of-factly. Bang! Li Cheng hit her head. "Hand it over?" She was not even his strict wife. Li Cheng did not say much. He took out the divine artifact from his backpack. In his palm, there was a small and simple unadorned hexahedron box. The triple gate of the god of creation. Description: a supreme artifact left behind by the god of creation. Rumor has it that it was created by fusing with 3 super-large dimensions. The territory it protects is definitely unbreakable. Level 1. Grade: Immortal. Type: Territory item. Attribute 1, Sea of Space. The god of creation has found a special sea at the end of the universe. It is transparent, colorless, and shapeless. It can provide a high boost to friendly forces, but makes it difficult for enemies to move an inch. Effect: 300,000 yards around the territory, there is an incorporeal sea area. Any enemy that enters will have its speed reduced by 90%. All territory units will have their movement speed increased by 300%. Building attack speed is also increased by 300%. Ignores any resistance of the enemy. Attribute 2, Mirror Folding Door, the special plane that the god of creation found in the universe. The mirror is indestructible and can reflect all energy in the universe. Effect: all damage dealt by units, buildings, and items below mythical grade will be reflected. All damage dealt by immortal grade units, buildings, and items will also be reflected. Can be triggered once per second. Attribute 3, Door of the Holy Region, connects to the gate of the ancient Holy Region. Nothing in the Holy Region is known to the public. Not even the god of creation has ever entered. However, the energy in the Holy Region can provide a very high bonus. Effect: all units within the territory will gain 10% experience points per day, 10% HP per second, and 10% mana per second. When everyone saw the attributes of this territory item, they were all dumbstruck and sucked in a breath of cold air. Even Li Cheng felt that this was a little too ridiculous. This item was simply invincible. These 3 skills were undoubtedly beyond the understanding of the mortal plane. The Sea of Space directly reduced the enemy's speed by 90%. If this was activated, the enemy would be as slow as a turtle. On the other hand, Li Cheng could use all his firepower. Whether it was his units or buildings, he would receive a huge bonus. If others still wanted to attack him, they could not run away. The mirror folding doors effect was also ridiculous. It could reflect the enemy's damage. This meant that mythical grade units and buildings could not harm his territory at all. Instead, attacks would be reflected back to the enemy, and there was a high probability that it would destroy them. Even Li Cheng did not expect that this thing could even reflect the damage of immortal grade units. If a god was unhappy with him and attacked him with his full strength, would it not kill the god instead? The only problem was, would the kill count as his or the enemy? The door of the holy region was a top-tier support skill. Not only did it recover a percentage of HP every second, but it could actually gain experience points every day. Li Cheng had never heard of this before. This meant that Li Cheng did not need to do any quests in the future and his units would grow infinitely. It must be known that the players in the evil domain had received the curse of evil. They would lose 50% of their experience points each day for a week, stunting their progress in the process. In comparison, Li Cheng could gain experience points just by lying at home. If this were to be known, the other players might be so angry that they would delete their accounts. Chapter 288, Planning to move into the floating island. When the goddesses saw the properties of this territory item, their beautiful eyes were wide open. Even the goddess of space, who typically had a cold personality and did not show much expression, was moved. Ella cried out, "Wow! This divine artifact's so powerful. I want it." After saying that, her small hand reached out to grab the small box. Bang! Li Cheng hit her head again. He could not help but roll his eyes. "Just because you say you want it, it's yours? Why don't you call yourself the god of creation, then?" "Sob, sob, sob, I just want to touch it," Ella said aggrievedly. Then, she picked up the small box and examined it from side to side, her saliva almost dripping out of her mouth. If this was placed in her own divine kingdom, the whole universe would be able to do whatever they wanted to her and she would remain unharmed. Trelafanny muttered, "No wonder so many gods participated. Even those evil ghost lords seemed to have gone crazy over it." The goddess of space was deep in thought. The power of the god of creation is far beyond our expectations. These planes are obviously not from our universe. Hearing this, Li Cheng raised his eyebrows. "Other universes?" The goddess of space nodded. "That's right. We aren't the only universe in this world. For example, there's the void race, the automaton race, the demon race, and the insect race. These are actually invaders from other universes." Li Cheng nodded. However, these things were still quite far away from him. It could be said that they had nothing to do with him. The goddess of space did not say anything more. She just reminded Li Cheng, "You shouldn't use this divine artifact for the time being. Understand?" Li Cheng shrugged. He was no fool. If he used it now, he would basically be telling everyone in the universe that there was something good in his territory. It was an invitation to attack him. On top of that, the things he had done in the evil domain would also be exposed without a doubt. Before he had enough strength, it was better not to use it. It would only cause trouble for him. However, there was one thing on his mind, which was moving to the floating island. When he thought of this, Li Cheng's eyes flashed with inexplicable light. The black technology on it was endless. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was an extremely huge war fortress. Li Cheng thought for a moment and said, "If you want to stay here, then find a room to stay. In a few days, my territory will be moved to the floating island. When that time comes, you can completely descend with your divine kingdoms." After he said that, the eyes of the few goddesses narrowed. Even they had only heard of the floating island. Moreover, there were only a few times in the history of the lost continent that one's divine kingdom had descended. However, the goddess of death, Trelafanny, and Ella quickly gave their answers. CO%/1. No problem. Be sure to reserve a good spot for me. After the three goddesses expressed their stance, the goddess of space seemed to be deep in thought. In the end, she nodded. The floating island indeed has the ability to fight against the world. If you ever want to move up, I'll definitely do my best to help you. Li Cheng smiled. With the full help of the goddesses and the floating island's defense system, he would be able to become enemies with the world. Suddenly, Li Cheng seemed to have thought of something and said to the goddess of space, "Speaking of which, I'll soon need your help." The goddess of space was stunned. "Damn, you really don't care about being polite. What? Li Cheng was silent for a moment before saying, "Can you control the spatial laws of the other universes?" The space goddess was too stunned to speak. What Li Cheng was talking about was naturally Earth. After the completion of the class trial and as his attributes increased, his fusion with the game world had almost reached its end. He could completely enter the world with his real body soon. Therefore, Li Cheng was prepared to enter the game world with his real body. At the same time, he had to deal with Pearl's matter. The current situation of Heartless War Soul was unknown. Ever since he was sent to the bottomless abyss by Li Cheng, it seemed that he had not appeared in the lost continent for a long time. When he thought of this, Li Cheng did not plan on dawdling. He bade farewell to the goddesses, returned to his territory, and slowly exited the game. Li Cheng appeared in his room again. He took a look at the nutrient solution in the game pod. No energy was consumed from it. He could now completely obtain energy through eating in the game. Li Cheng called out to the goddess of space in his heart. "Goddess, can you hear me?" However, he did not receive any answer. Suddenly, an ethereal female voice rang from behind him. "The rules of this world are a little different." The corner of Li Cheng's mouth twitched. "This mother Faster really gave me a fright." He turned around and saw the goddess of space's extremely beautiful face. However, what appeared on Earth was just an incarnation. Li Cheng began to introduce some of his things to her. "This is called the game cabin. It's the device that brings the souls of humans from Earth to the lost continent. Perhaps you can study it." "Okay." The goddess of space nodded. Then, she waved her small hand. After a strange spatial fluctuation, the game cabin disappeared in an instant. Seeing this, Li Cheng nodded. It seemed that the goddess of space could also use her powers on Earth. He said immediately, "Help me teleport to a coordinate." After saying that, he gave the goddess of space a certain coordinate, and in the next moment, the space fluctuation instantly enveloped Li Cheng. As the teleportation light descended, Li Cheng suddenly appeared in a room that was not particularly spacious. He blinked. The room was filled with all kinds of dolls, and the overall color was also inclined toward the cute style of a little girl. He originally thought that with Pearl's experience, she would be more boyish. He did not expect that under the strong desire for revenge, she also had a girl's heart. In the middle of the room was a gaming cabin, and in the gaming cabin was a sleeping girl. The girl's beautiful sleeping face had a trace of coldness that could not be erased. This appearance stunned Li Cheng. This was the first time he had seen Pearl's true appearance. He had to admit that this little girl was quite good-looking. Li Cheng did not say much and knocked on the game pod. Immediately, Pearl opened her eyes. After a moment of being in a daze, her focus was fixed on Li Cheng's face. Then, bang! A bullet was suddenly fired from the game pod. Chapter 289, I will bring you eternal life. Looking at the bullet that was fired from the game cabin, Li Cheng's pupils constricted. He did not expect this little girl to be so fierce. She did not even say anything before shooting. However, from this, it could be seen that Pearl was usually someone who lacked a sense of security. Otherwise, she would not have acted this way. After merging with the game world, Li Cheng was not afraid of bullets. He even stuck out 2 fingers to catch the incoming bullet. At this moment, the corner of Li Cheng's mouth twitched. Pearl was still wearing her pajamas. Where did she escape from? He was speechless. "Sigh, you look like a young lady. Why are you so irritable? You didn't even say a word and you immediately took out your gun." Pearl was stunned when she heard this. Her originally guarded face was filled with confusion. Then, she asked in disbelief, "Your master?" After saying this, Pearl began to doubt herself again. How did Li Cheng enter her room? The door was still locked from the inside. Also, she remembered that Li Cheng had once mentioned to her that he lived in another city. Even if he took a plane to rush over, it would still take him a few hours. She clearly remembered that Li Cheng had logged off for only a few minutes. How could he suddenly be in her room? Moreover, Li Cheng had actually caught her bullet with his bare hands. What was going on? Was he shooting a movie? With Li Cheng's current attributes, bullets naturally could not hurt him. Even if he was hit by a few bullets, he still would not feel a thing. However, he did not know where Pearl got the pistol from. Furthermore, it was placed in the gaming cabin. This was probably due to paranoia. Pearl climbed out of the gaming cabin, her cheeks were slightly red, and the way she looked at Li Cheng was a little unnatural. It was the first time a member of the opposite sex had entered her room. Furthermore, this man in front of her had a close relationship with her. Li Cheng saying she had a young girl's heart earlier had made her a little shy. She did not know how to respond. After that, Pearl made a pot of tea for Li Cheng. Then, she changed out of her pajamas and into a set of home clothes. Li Cheng did not hesitate and said directly, "What I'm going to say next might be a little unbelievable. It'll also overturn your worldview, but I wouldn't lie to you, understand?" "Yes." Ming Zhu hurriedly nodded. A few minutes later, Li Cheng told her about the fusion of the two worlds. Pearl was extremely surprised. She was stunned and her eyes were wide open. The fusion of two worlds. Was this not a plot that only existed in novels? How could she encounter it? If it was someone else who told her this, she would definitely call him crazy. However, Pearl had no choice but to believe the words of the man in front of her. Still, when she saw the blazing flame in Li Cheng's hand, she completely believed him. "Pack up. After today, we'll say goodbye to Earth. I'll bring your true body to the lost continent. In that case, you'll complete the fusion ahead of time, and you'd be considered to have become immortal. Even if you die, you can always be resurrected." When she heard this, Pearl's expression was slightly moved. Immortal? She had never thought of this question. Li Cheng drank his tea and did not continue to speak. He was letting Pearl process everything he said slowly. A few minutes later, Li Cheng said again, "Of course, before I leave, I'll finish doing what I promised you I'd do." Pearl's eyes widened again. Her delicate body was also trembling slightly. Could she finally kill her enemy with her own hands? When she thought of this, Pearl could not help but say, "Master." Li Cheng shook his head and held her hand. "Call me Li Cheng. We don't necessarily have a master-servant relationship. Perhaps we can change it." Pearl's face instantly turned blood red. Compared to her cold and callous self in the game, in reality, she was more like a young girl. Pearl lowered her eyes and whispered, "Can I also?" Li Cheng smiled and asked, "Why not?" Although Li Cheng had always treated Pearl as a part-time worker, he would not look down on her like this. It was not just Pearl, but everyone else as well. Of course, those who did not listen to him were naturally excluded. On the contrary, compared to the few girls in the lost continent, Pearl was the one who worked the hardest. Li Cheng had already finished drinking his tea. He stood up and said, "Pack your things. If you have nothing to do here in the future, you won't be coming back here." He looked around the room and his gaze fell on some trivial items on the bed. There were toys of all sizes and all kinds of cosmetics. There were quite a lot of them. Then, Li Cheng touched his face. You can take these dolls with you, but forget about those cosmetics." For cosmetics, it was naturally an essential thing for women, but that was only for ordinary women. For the two worlds that were about to merge, and for women who had strength, the body's function and recovery were naturally excellent. There was no need for cosmetics at all. At this moment, Pearl's cheeks were almost drenched with water. A few minutes later, Pearl's expression had returned to normal. She tidied up very quickly and had already changed into a light set of clothes. Li Cheng also asked her to arrange the rest of her schedule. Thus, the two of them arrived at the university where Pearl was at. Looking at the scene in front of him, the comer of Li Cheng's mouth twitched. University was something that he had no fate with. He looked at the scenery on the campus and asked, "What are you doing here?" Pearl explained, "I'm going through the withdrawal procedures." She paused. As if afraid that Li Cheng would get angry, she added, "There's a teacher who takes very good care of me. She was a good friend of my father's before he died. I want to say goodbye to her." Li Cheng smiled and said, "Let's go. We have nothing to do now anyway. It's okay if you want to call all of your family and friends, too." Pearl smiled and shook her head. "I don't have any friends." Then, she suddenly paused. "Master Li Cheng, do you know about Purple Rose's situation?" Li Cheng raised his eyebrows. "What's her situation?" Li Cheng only knew her real name. As for her situation, he did not know much about it. Pearl was silent for a few seconds before saying, "When we have time, let's go and see her together." Li Cheng did not know why Pearl said that, but he still nodded. He, too, wanted to know who Purple Rose was. At this time, Pearl's appearance caused a stir on campus. Chapter 290, Who is facing a behemoth? Zhang Shuer. She finally appeared. "Hiss, isn't she the campus belle, Zhang Shuer? I saw her picture a few months ago. Tisk, tisk, tisk. I haven't forgotten her. But, why is there a man beside her? Hehe, I guess he wants to confess to Zhang Shuer. Unfortunately, he'll be rejected again." The students on campus naturally wanted to watch the drama unfold. After all, Zhang Shuer, which was Pear's real name, was famous for being an ice-cold beauty. She would always ignore everyone who went after her. During her time on campus, there were quite a number of men who confessed to her. All of them were rejected by her, no exceptions. However, what happened next made the students' jaws drop. Under the gazes of countless students, Pearl reached out and grabbed Li Cheng's hand. "*MN, what's going on? Zhang Shuer has a boyfriend. Impossible, absolutely impossible, I can't accept it. Sob, 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 my first love has been stolen. Hiss, who is this man? Rumor has it that young Master Zhang has been chasing after Zhang Shuer for a few months. If this man doesn't have any background, I'm afraid he won't be able to leave this school. Who cares about him? Who asked him to hold my goddess's hand?" Naturally, Li Cheng could not be bothered by their gossip. At this time, Pearl had already found her teacher. Looking at the two people holding hands, the female teacher's pupils constricted as her gaze rested on Li Cheng. As someone who had been through this, the closeness of Pearl and Li Cheng's relationship could be seen at a glance by the female teacher. She asked, "Little Shuer, what are you doing?" Pearl did not beat around the bush and said, "I'm here to drop out of school today. Teacher, thank you for taking care of me for so many years." The female teacher was stunned. She and Pearl's father were good friends. It was also under her care and protection that Pearl was able to become who she was today. As if she could hear her teacher's concern, Pearl continued, "Don't worry, he'll take good care of me." Hearing this, the female teacher was stunned again. It seemed that Zhang Shuer had found her own home. However, as someone who was aware of her situation, Pearl's teacher still frowned. "Young man, do you know about little Shuer? Do you know what kind of behemoth you're fighting against?" Hearing this, Li Cheng did not understand. He was fighting against a behemoth? This teacher probably did not know who was the one fighting against a behemoth. Li Cheng smiled and replied, "Isn't it just the Zhang Corporation? Why does it seem like they're so powerful?" The teacher's eyes lit up. From what Li Cheng said, it seemed that Shuer had found a boyfriend with a deeper background. Then, the teacher asked, "What do you plan to do?" Li Cheng shrugged. "Taking down a corporation might be easier than you think." The teacher asked, "How so?" Li Cheng's eyes turned cold. Killing all of the Zhang organization's employees with the surname Zhang. The teacher's expression instantly froze. She almost laughed out loud. What kind of society was this? Kill them all? Why did it feel like the young man in front of her was living in a dream? However, she could feel an almost tangible murderous aura from Li Cheng's body. It suffocated her until she almost could not breathe. She was not sure who this young man in front of her was. The teacher took a deep breath and asked, "Who exactly are you?" Li Cheng did not explain much. He simply spat out a word. Netherworld. When she heard what Li Cheng said, her eyes widened. The word Netherworld was now known by everyone in the world. The teacher asked with widened eyes, "Are you really Netherworld?" Pearl nodded and said, "That's right, teacher. I've never told you this, but I'm actually Pearl." Hearing this, the female teacher finally came back to her senses. So that's how it is. She finally understood. Schwetter had not been coming to campus and had always stayed at home. Although she had played online games in the past and was quite famous, she was not as crazy as she had been in the past few weeks. Even the news on television was reporting it. "Don't worry, I'll protect her well." Li Cheng stared at Pearl who was beside him and said, "With me around, no one can hurt her." Having said that, the female teacher did not say anything else. She would let the younger ones decide on their own matters. After that, they exchanged a few simple greetings. Pearl thanked her teacher for taking care of her. After bidding their farewells, Pearl quickly completed the withdrawal procedures. She carefully folded the documents and said, "Ever since that night, all of my life's trajectories will be known to my parents." Li Cheng did not speak and remained silent. The grudge between Pearl and Heartless War Soul could be said to be very simple. Pearl's father was once a collateral member of the Zhang group. Later on, the person that Pearl's father assisted failed to win in the power struggle within the family and was subsequently purged. That night, Pearl was taken away by the female teacher. Under her protection, Pearl was able to live to this age. However, no one would have thought that a little girl who was not even 3 years old back then would remember everything so clearly. Seeing this, Li Cheng smiled and said, "How about we form a marriage certificate and send it over to them?" Hearing this, Pearl's fair and gentle face instantly turned red. However, she revealed a smile again. After dealing with the withdrawal process, everything was settled. Li Cheng and Pearl walked out of campus. At this moment, a group of men in suits surrounded the two of them. Seeing this situation, Li Cheng was stunned. Were they here to deal with him? Why was this scene exactly the same as in the novel? Why did they need him to show off? It had to be said that a beauty like Pearl would naturally be coveted by others. Very quickly, a man walked out from the crowd and said to Pearl, "Zhang Schwetter." Pearl's expression was indifferent. "What?" This one word successfully made the man's face turn red with anger. He was the eldest young master Zhang that the students had mentioned earlier, the crown prince of the Zhang group, Zhang Fan. Just as the students had said, in order to pursue Zhang Schwetter, he had expended a lot of effort. Of course, Pearl could not be bothered with him at all. The Zhang group was a big group run by a renowned family. They were not on the same level at all. Zhang Fan took a deep breath and looked at Li Cheng. He asked, "This is?" Pearl's tone was still very calm. "My boyfriend." As Pearl's words fell, Li Cheng seemed to hear the shattering of countless hearts.